Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering a new pad from 4114. This is a company known as All for One, One for All. I think the name of the company is awesome. I think the logo is awesome. But this is a company that was founded by two Fortnite pros, Cease and Elevate. These guys were partnered and made over millions of dollars at tournament in Fortnite, and they've definitely taken that passion, that drive, that competitiveness in Fortnite and in FPS shooters and have transferred that into this new peripheral company. If this mousepad is a sign of what's to come, I think we've got a lot in store for us just from the perspective of peripherals and goodies. But taking this mousepad out of the box, sticking it on my desk, not only do I love the design of this, but it just feels absolutely amazing. For a first pad, you can tell that these guys stress test a lot, going through different textiles. I think the pad is exceptionally good. Anybody that has followed my channel knows that I am an absolute lover of fast and open pads. I've always been somebody that's gravitated towards those because I like being in full control of my pad. I don't like my pad controlling me. I don't like that sense of mud, that magnetism under my skates. I don't want to feel that on static, and I certainly don't want to feel that on dynamic, which is why I'm somebody that gravitated towards the Raiden Xsoft and glass or hard pads. This pad is a surface material that is a twill polyester and spandex. It remains very consistent and feels like a hybrid and picks up a lot of that speed. This is a pad I've already pumped at least 50 hours into, and I don't have any deterioration or sweat stains on the actual top layer itself, which I believe there is a heat or humidity resistant layer as well. I didn't feel any muddiness or any areas on the pad that have any sort of slowdown from the first second I used the pad, now 50 hours in. In terms of the surface feel, there is a little bit of a texture to it. Nothing that feels overly abrasive on the skin, and certainly nothing that would cause me any aversion to using the pad with my skin rubbing on the pad or the skate feel on the pad, which does change depending on your skates. Tiger Ice V2 dots on my outset. I have absolutely no surface feel of that texture of the top layer. With something like the G Pro Superlight skates that are a little bit thinner, I do pick up a little bit of that sense of that texture on the skate. And I actually like that. I'm kind of gravitating more towards the G Pro Superlight default skates on this pad. One, because they are a little bit more controlled than the outset skates that I have on right now, but also I like picking up that surface feel on the top layer of the surface because I get that subconscious awareness of where my mouse is and how fast I'm gliding without even kind of thinking about that at all. It just adds that extra element of touch feel while you are playing, and I actually really enjoy that. Anybody that is wondering about the performance of the pad, again, being fast and open, I never felt it to be wiggly or uncontrollable. Although it is fast on dynamic, I pick up that nice flick, but at my end range of motion with my wrist movements or even arm movements, the mouse can come to a very nice controlled stop. So I don't have that extra wiggle like I had on the Hayate Atsu at end range of motion. It's something that's very controllable while having that speed and that openness. Again, another reason why I really enjoy this pad. I think if anybody is worried about taking this pad into tag shooters, I don't think that you have to be too worried. There are professional players like Jogamo that use this at VCT Champions and absolutely slay it out. For me personally, having an open pad like this does not affect my controlled crosshair placement in game, and it's not something that, while I am trying to remain slow on static, it's not something that I feel becoming wiggly or having noticeable crosshair movement without meaning to move my mouse. So a pad that stays very good in tack shooters, and a pad for me that just performed like an absolute animal in Apex Legends. In Apex Legends, it was one of the most fun pads that I've used in 2023 and probably one of the best speed pads that I've used in 2023, if not the best. I haven't tried the Artisan Shirenkai V2, which I hope is damn good, but unless that beats this right now is in my running to be my #1 speed pad in 2023. Again, the consistency, the durability, and overall consistency in my performance in Apex with my tracking. It's just something, again, that I feel in complete control and something that feels very fast, very fun and open. And again, I get that awareness that subconscious extra awareness of where my mouse is and where my crosshair placement is with that textile under my mouse skates. One that performed, again, very well for me in game and easily one of my top performers that I've personally used in Apex Legends to date. I love the size of the pad. I love the design elements. Again, the design elements do not affect the glide at all, either the logo or the statue in the middle of the pad. The pad is 530 by 490, and I think the extra verticality and the horizontal width of the pad just feel really nice. I didn't know if I would like that 530, but it works perfectly on my desk. And then the width of the pad, which is a pour-on density, pour-on foam, it does have that typical backing that we see on most pour-on pads, does not move at all on my desk. If I push or pull or pry as hard as I can, I actually do have to lift it, so it does stay perfectly in place on my desk. The foam density, I would say, is not as plushy as some Artisan Xsoft pads, but I would say it's about a soft leaning towards an Xsoft. You get an ability to dig in, but it's not quite as easy, I would say, as something like a Raiden Xsoft. Overall, the stitching, very thin, very well done, and I would say about even to the surface itself. And it's stitching that's very thin, very tight. I never had issues of my hair being pulled by the stitching, which I hate so much. Now, all of the design elements really just combine into, again, one of the best speed pads that I've used in 2023, and right now is in my running to be my #1 speed pad of 2023. I think the guys over at 4114, for this to be their first pad, they've chosen a really nice top layer and all of the design elements combined, the humidity resistance layer, and overall the just quality of the pour-on, the actual backing of the pad, everything just comes together to provide an exceptionally good first pad. I'm impressed. The pad that I would kind of liken the speed to the most that has released recently is the Infinity My Speed Pad. Also definitely got a lot of spandex feel in the top surface as well, but the Infinity My Speed Pad is a lot smoother, whereas the 4114 has a little bit more openness in the weave and definitely has a little bit more texture to it, to the skin. You can tell that a little bit additional texture does go a long way in providing a little bit more stopping power on fast dynamic movements. Overall, when manually powering the mouse and being in control of the mouse, both pads have that open, speedy feel, with the 4114 just feeling a tiny bit more controlled than the Infinity My Speed Pad. I do think that texture goes a long way. I enjoy the texture. I think, again, it gives me a little bit more feel under the mouse, and I do enjoy that to an extent. It's not too much here. I really do enjoy it. The 4114 pad is also larger. The stitching's a little bit thinner and higher quality. And again, I do enjoy the design elements on the 4114. Both pads, though, highly rated by me. I think both of these are fantastic speedier pads. And the only negatives I can really point to, again, I would bring up that particle issue because the pad is a little bit more open and has that texture. Dust particles can get in there a little bit more. Wasn't anything excessive, nothing that bothered me, again. And I did just have a little bit of discoloration on some of the black areas of the pad towards the bottom out of the packaging. Again, pre-production unit, probably won't even be there on full release, but nothing that bothered me. Love the design elements here. Love, most importantly, the size of the pad, the stitching, the pour-on foam here, the base. Everything is exceptionally high quality, and I do think that the textile itself is one that just performs and feels really nice in game. One of my favorite pads that I've tested this year. Again, in the running for the top speed pad that I've tried this year. I think that 4114 for their first pad, they've knocked this one out of the park. And it's a great display of what might be to come in the future from Cease and Elevate. It's nice to have professional players going through these textiles and choosing something that works for them, which then correlates into something that works for us. So guys, they did a great job. That is it for this one. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.